What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sapphire here, back with another video. So this week I thought I would do an affordable book haul because I'm obsessed with watching book hauls. I've also gotten a few new books recently and I just thought I would share them with you guys because they're not books that I've seen in other book hauls before and they sound super interesting, so I thought I would, you know, just put you guys on. So let's get into this video. First things first is I'm going to go through the physical books. We have Three Weddings and a Proposal by Sheila O'Flanagan. Now, I'm not going to lie, what drew me to this book was definitely the cover. I really liked the fact that the bouquet of flowers has been thrown into water, but also the title, Three Weddings and a Proposal, it had me questioning, what is this book about? I'm not going to lie, I read the blurb and I still don't kind of know what it's about. I do know there's a girl who, she basically goes to her brother's weddings and things happen. So she brings dates to their weddings and the dates are very questionable people, and her family have stopped asking her why she's single because every time she brings one of these dates to the wedding, I guess something happens. So the blurb says, at the first wedding there's a shock, the second wedding is unexpected, by the third Delphi thinks nothing could surprise her but she's wrong. That just drew me in. So once I've read this book I will definitely share my opinions on it. The next book I purchased is The Agathas. This one is by this one's by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson, and again what drew me was definitely the front cover. It's basically about a girl who starts investigating a death because in her school one of the most popular girls is found dead and everyone is blaming the wrong person. She's obsessed with Agatha Christie. So the main character is called Alice Ogilvy, and she joins up with Iris Adams to investigate who kills the most popular girl in school. Now they're both amateur detectives, but they are uncovering loads of secrets in this really boring, dreary town that they live in. And Iris actually wants to escape the town and Alice is just obsessed with Agatha Christie. So I feel like they're a pair that you wouldn't expect to be together and they're going to uncover some really interesting things. I also think that this will be a very fun book to read. I love a whodunit type of story, so yeah. The next books I have are, I guess, thrillers. I guess we'll call, I would say they're thrillers because when I look at the cover is given thriller, you know, the typical thriller book cover. So the first one is The Mother and it's by T.M. Logan, master of the up all night thriller. So again, I was drawn in mostly by the title, The Mother. I was thinking, what is this book going to be about? And when I read the blurb, I was like, absolutely yes. So what happens is a woman wakes up and her husband is dead and she is the main suspect. She gets convicted for the murder. She goes to jail for 10 years and her kids are taken away from her. When she comes out of jail or prison, I'm British, we say jail, but when she is released, she essentially is deciding whether or not she's going to find out what really happened because she's saying she didn't kill her husband. So she wants to find out what's really happened and she wants to get her kids back. And it says, do you stop at nothing to find out the truth about what really happened that night and to get your family back? And that was the line that drew me in because it's telling me she's going to do the most to get her kids back, and rightly so. I mean, if she didn't kill her husband, then yeah, I'd do the same. I mean, there's limits. The next book I purchased is a bigger than average book, as you can see, but this book is by Peter Swanson and it's called The Kind Worth Saving. Now, again, I was drawn in by the title and it reminds me of The Killing Kind, which I spoke about in my August TBR. Go and watch that video if you want to hear this spiel. But this blurb, the blurb really got me. It says, do you remember me, she asked, after stepping into my office. When private detective and former teacher Henry Kimball is hired to investigate an ex-pupil's cheating husband, he senses all is not quite what it seems, and before he knows it, he's gotten far too close to the other woman. As the case gets ever stranger, he turns to the only person he can trust, Lily Kintner, someone with very dark secrets of her own. Now, why does he turn to her? What are her dark secrets? What happened to this woman's cheating husband? Is it her cheating husband? Yeah. What does he find? Is the husband still alive? Like, I just have loads of questions. She's not that thick as well. So she's only 300 pages, which is, you know, really easy to read. Next, I have a fantasy book. Now, this is a book I've not actually seen anyone speak about before, and it's called The Unwilling. It's by Kelly Braffett. It says she has no name, no history, and a power greater than the Empire has ever known, and that drew me in straight away. So this book is about a girl who was found. She has no family and she has this incredible power, and everybody is essentially after her for her power. Now, they're not after her to kill her, they're after her to use her. She lives with a, I think, what is he, a lord. So she lives with a lord and his son, and the lord actually wants to use her as a pawn in his own plan. Then there is another person who's outside of the Empire who also wants to use her, and he's a healer with his own powers. And so, yeah, she discovers herself, she just discovers her story, she discovers a lot of things in this book, and I want to know what her power is and why people are after her. So next we're going to move on to our, next we're going to move on to our Kindle reads. Now, like I said before, I am definitely a big advocate for Kindle Unlimited. I think it's such a good subscription plan. In the UK, it's £9.49 a month, and then you can take out up to 20 books. You read them, you return them, and they have a lot of popular titles. So they have like Magnolia Park's Universe on there. They have all of the books. They have Elsie Silver's books. There's just so many books that you probably have heard of that you want to read. I thought I would share with you some books that I have recently downloaded that I've added to my TBR because they sound super interesting, because I know it can be a bit difficult to find books on Kindle Unlimited. The first book that I've downloaded is called The Last of the Moon Girls by Barbara Davis. Now, this book is rated 4 stars on Goodreads, so I'm quite excited to read it. It's kind of out of my comfort zone, but I feel like it's something that I will enjoy. It's about a girl who essentially distances herself from her family and their legacy because they have a strange reputation in the town that she lives in. But then her grandma dies and she has to go back to the farm where 2 young girls had died in the past, and she finds a book that's supposed to help her to understand her family's like legacy and reputation, and then she becomes determined to prove her grandma's innocence because I guess the murders were pinned on her grandma. So again, it's like a murder mystery. She meets a guy who believes that her family are not to blame for the things that have happened, and so she starts investigating, and this guy is a big help in this investigation from what I can see. The second book I downloaded from Kindle Unlimited is The Keeper of Happy Endings by Barbara Davis. The book is about 2 girls, one called Celine and one called Rory, and Celine's timeline is set before World War II happens, and she basically is a bridal shop owner, and World War II happens. After that, I guess some devastating things happen that crush her dreams, her hopes, and she doesn't believe in love anymore. Later on, or should I say decades later, Rory rents out Celine's shop, and at the time she doesn't know obviously who Celine is because it's a completely different time period, but she finds a box of letters and a wedding dress, and she goes to return it to its rightful owner, which I'm guessing is probably a family member of Celine's, and in doing that she learns a Celine's story, and she realizes that there's a lot of things that are similar that happen to Celine that also happen to Rory, and she forms a friendship with the family member of Celine. So it says that this book is about fate, second chances, hope, lost and found, and it's by Barbara Davis, which is an Amazon chart writer. So Very excited to read that. I think it will be something that gives, you know, that warm feeling you get when you read a book. I think that book's gonna definitely give me that. The next book on my Kindle Unlimited list is called Promised in Fire by Jasmine Walt. It's a crazy storyline, and I can't wait to read it, because when I was reading the blurb, I was really like, this is insane. So it's about a girl who has powers. She has water powers, and it's obviously a fantasy book. So she is a fae. I'm still trying to get to grips with what a fae is, but she's a fae and she has water powers, and when she's training, she basically makes a mistake that unleashes a new power that she has inside of her, and at the same time of doing that, she wakes up a dragon who hates fae. But when he wakes up, he has this undying urge to find her, which is good, because when she made that mistake, the king realized that she has a power that he could use, and he wants to kidnap her to basically put her to use for his own personal gain. So her and this dragon form an alliance. They fall in love, I'm assuming, because it talks about a romance. Now, I don't know, is the dragon a person or is it a dragon? Because how do you fall in love with a dragon? But anyways, they fall in love and they form an alliance, and they basically have to try to stop her getting kidnapped by the king, and also, I guess, defeat him, because he has now also kidnapped her mum, because he wants to draw her in so that he can have her and use her and her powers for his own personal gain. Now, if that doesn't sound like a good story, I don't know what is. Now, maybe the way I've explained it doesn't sound good. You might want to go and read the blurb. But I'm telling you, this story sounds so good. And I am recently in my fantasy bag. I feel like this is... it's giving Fourth Wing, you know? Anything that brings me back to the feeling I got when I was reading Fourth Wing, I am down to read. So this is available on Kindle Unlimited. Do you see how they have all these good stories? The book I'm about to tell you about, you may have heard of it before. I might be late to joining the party, but it sounded really good to me, and it's another fantasy romance book. Can you see a trend here? So it's called Spark of the Everflame by Pen Cole. This book is about a girl who lives in a village that was... oh, she's immortal. Very important fact. So it's a mortal girl. She lives in a mortal village that was colonized by the gods, and their evil offspring are the people who are now running it, because that's what happens, you know, colonization kind of stays in the family, you know. So she lives in this village which she hates, and she wants to escape, and her mother then disappears. But her mum leaves clues for her to find out what has happened or what's going on, and she essentially now breaks free. She enters the godly realm, and she's investigating like her mother's disappearance. At the same time, she's formed an alliance with a group of people who want to have a civil war, and she's being watched by the king's handsome, mysterious heir, and he's watching her every move. So again, this is a book I need to know, because this is obviously enemies to lovers. He's probably hating her. He thinks that she's the most irritating person on the planet, and she hates him because he colonized her village, he ruined her life, her mum has disappeared, and somehow he probably has something to do with it, or his family does, but somehow they're gonna fall in love. And it's a 4-part series. I love a good series because one book is just not enough. So this is on my list. It has 4 stars on Goodreads. So again, I'm definitely excited to read this book. And my last book is a thriller. Now this book I got from Prime Reading, which is not Kindle Unlimited, but if you have Amazon Prime, I'm assuming you can download it on your Kindle. It's called His and Hers by Alice Feeney. And again, it was just the cover that drew me in. It was just the cover that drew me in. It is about a woman, and my stomach is growling, I need to eat. But it's about a woman and her ex-husband. And basically there is a murder that happens, and her ex-husband is investigating the murder. He ends up becoming the suspect in his own murder investigation, where he actually thought his wife had something to do with it. Now, their opinions of each other is not great, because in the blurb it says, Jack, who is the husband, 3 words to describe my wife: beautiful, ambitious, unforgiving. And Anna, who is the wife, one word to describe my husband: liar. So take what you want from that. I feel like this will definitely be a really good book, and it's a thriller. So I'm definitely in my thriller, fantasy, romance era, and I'm absolutely very much okay with that. I've read so many romance books that I'm just like, they're kind of all giving the same vibes. So with my Kindle Unlimited reads, I wanted to get something that was a little bit out of my comfort zone, a little bit more into the fantasy genre, and going back to my thriller roots, because if you don't know, the books that got me into reading were all thrillers. So that's the end of my book haul, my affordable book haul, should I say. I hope you found some books to add to your TBR list, and if you have read any of these books, then definitely comment down below and let me know what you thought of them. If you have any book recommendations, like I always say, comment them down below, because I'm always looking for new books to read. I get through books quite quickly, so I need to stack up so that I always have something to read. I'm also a little bit of a mood reader, so I need to have a big variety so that I can choose from some books. But that brings us to the end of this video, so don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.